All right, Taurus, welcome to your monthly Sidereal Astrology forecast. This is going to be for December of 2015. My name is Athen, and this is for Sidereal Astrology, very different from mainstream astrology, which you can find more about down below. All right, Taurus, so another transformative month, especially these first couple weeks of the month. We've got a T-square forming up between Mars, Uranus, and Pluto. Then after that, things sort of transform. Then we do have Mercury sort of early in the month, but then the Sun going into Sagittarius later in the month. Venus going into Libra where she's in dignity, which is quite nice, and a couple other things which I'll talk about. So this first half, definitely that T-square energy. We have a new moon on the 11th, and then on the 25th, we have the full moon. And let's go ahead and take a look here. So one thing I want to say too is this is going to be very general, and if you want a more specific look in terms of where the more specific aspects, do check the weeklies where I'll go into more detail into them. So starting off here between the 1st through the 5th, we still do have Saturn squaring up to Neptune, so that uncertainty, that doubt, perhaps even confusion about the life path and where we're going might still be in effect. Now, I don't think it's going to be nearly as strong as it was back in November because this aspect will have already gone exact and it's just sort of waning at this point. But these first 5 days, I think it's important to continue to have that faith and trust that everything is unfolding in divine timing, as well as slowly building upon our, dreams and these things that we don't even maybe know where we're going, where we're headed, and even for the next couple months to continuously, build upon them. So this has been involving your career probably on some regards, which has been Neptune in that 10th house, uncertainty, doubts perhaps with that. But again, that constructive energy of Saturn can really help build it, and the faith and trust of Neptune can also help you flow with it as well. And also relationships. This is a very important axis of the chart, the 10th house and the 7th house. In terms of your one-on-one connections, which are going to be heightened this month with the Sun and Mercury here, still have Saturn. Okay, so there is that slow, steady, disciplined, one step at a time approach to all relationships, new ones, existing ones, and then also that faith and trust and maybe even compassion in those relationships, which is Neptune trying to make its way into that 7th house energy of very strict Saturn. All right, so that's the for sort of first 5 days of it, and working with it in that way I think will help balance it out and help you again build it constructively. Now, from the 5th through the 8th, we do have then Mars squaring up to Pluto to join up with that T-square. These are going to be the high points here between those 3 days. This is intense intentions, and I think it's all involving your self-expression. Could be a lot of drive, a lot of assertiveness, as there has been probably, with you expressing yourself, with things that you're passionate about. Could even be hobbies and things like that for some of you. Could be regarding children, if you have children in your life, very intent there. And creativity. It could even be entrepreneurship or anything like that, even romance. So whatever that is, 5th house stuff, it's about trying to not let the ego get too involved with this, especially with Mars squaring up to Pluto. This is where a lot of times we're very direct, we're very intent on these things, these 5th house things probably. And, Pluto's saying, look, there's some attachment, there's some ego things here that need to be stripped away. So be willing to change, be willing to open up to new possibilities. And in that way, then you're coming from a much cleaner place in which you can then step into a much more pure spiritual power, which is Pluto, to perhaps make some change with the way you express yourself with some of those 5th house things. Okay. And so that's going to be important. Now, Mars also rules your 7th house and your 12th house. So when it comes, same thing when it comes to your one-on-one connections and relationships around this middle part of the month. Be willing to have that compassion, that non-attachment, and to change things, right? Because that's going to be basically like Venus, which normally is associated with that 7th house squaring up to Pluto kind of energy because Mars rules your 7th, right? So that's going to be the key. And then also make sure you are getting that alone time, spiritual time out in a healthy way. This middle part, I would say for sure, or early part in particular. Then at that same time, while this is happening nicely, Mercury does shift into Sagittarius, which is that much more expansive view of things, which for you is at 8th house. So I think naturally here the shift is going to prompt you into a deeper, probing into who you are, what's really important to you, what's really meaningful to you in life, these kinds of questions. And those are going to continue as next the Sun will be following Mercury into that 9th house. So great things to think about. It's a great time to dive deep in general. And when it comes to the material aspects of life and that self-expression, come from that place where it's truthful, it's meaningful, it's right. And it may require some of that inner exploration, but through this, there will be a transformation over these next couple months, okay, from this. And it's all about the truth and really connecting to things because you really enjoy them, because they really mean something to you, right? So that's going to be that. And then from the 9th through the 12th, Mars then opposes up to Uranus in that T-square. So these few days here, balance when it comes to self-expression and anything else that's been changing in regards to your ideals, in regards to community stuff. You've had Uranus in your 11th house, which is about freedom when it comes to anything collective, anything group-oriented, or with your ideals. So the key with this is to not to go to any extremes with Mars opposite Uranus. I think for all of us, we're probably to some extent going to be feeling that irritability, that wanting to break free and make some sudden changes. So there's something to listen to with that. And for you, the message is coming from there's something group-related, community-related in which we can give and share and contribute back to. But the key is to balance that with these things you're passionate about, because this is a seeming opposition, but there's really no opposition in astrology other than our perspective. In other words, the 5th house is passion, our own personal passion, and the 11th is what's important for the world, what's important for others around us, and they're really one and the same thing. When we're really doing what's passionate for us, then we are in alignment with what the world needs, what others need around us. The world needs us to be our true self. So, so watch any extremes with that, especially with the relationship stuff again, and, even not financial, relationship stuff, because then in that way you'll have this freeing energy where you can have more freedom, more independence, more individuality in your one-on-one connections without tipping the scales, right? Without it becoming too much about you versus too much about them, right? And finding that even keel, which really comes through that slow and steady listening to your intuition and, watching any sudden extreme sort of actions or decisions with this, okay? And that could be involving that creative stuff that is in the works or hobbies and things like that with this kind of aspect, realizing that, there is that key to having an alignment. There is a way to have what you're really passionate about be in alignment with those around you, okay? They're really one and the same thing. Now, that's going to be that first half of the month. Also, between the 10th to the 11th, Venus is going to be trining up to Neptune, which is quite nice. In fact, could be good for, you guys are probably just going to be feeling quite, easygoing, quite spiritual around this time period. Maybe getting that rest, relaxation, things could come easy. Maybe in the routine and the health and diet, which is nice. And then on the 11th, we do have that new moon, which is going to be in that 7th house of yours. So a lot of you are having some new beginnings in regards to your one-on-one connections, in regards to just, daily people, new relationships, existing ones, and just an overall perspective change on that, which is always needed. So during this new moon, sort of reflect on that, reflect on the relationships. There's Saturn close by, so it's keeping everything nice and grounded, nice and solid, and see it in the long term, in the big picture. When it comes to that, whatever it might be for you with the 7th house. Could also be business, could also be legal matters as well. So it'll be also a lowering time period for all of us. And then as the rest of the month unfolds, more energy going and moving towards those new beginnings with relationships. Now, the second half of the month looks quite different. Venus then goes out of Virgo, which is quite nice for her, going into Libra, where she is in a much better position in dignity. And this is in your 6th house, so it's about enjoying the health, the diet, maybe the work environment, things like that, maybe meeting people through your work, etc. And then on the 19th, Mercury does conjoin up to Pluto in that 8th house, so that continuous depth, really getting deep with yourself, with transformation, restructuring things. Here's where you can really start to restructure like the finances, the material stuff, since Mercury rules your 2nd house. You can also restructure and transform the way you express yourself, right? All of that is going through a big transformation this month. And I think from around this 19th and onward, there is that transformed energy in terms of your communications, your self-expression, maybe even the financial material stuff has been transformed as a result. Okay, so the key is to be willing to dive deep and to see the truth and to change and get rid of anything old that needs to be gotten rid of. And this is primarily involving your perspective on things, right, and your thinking patterns. And that's for all of us with Mercury conjoining Pluto. Now on the 21st, the sun then goes into Sagittarius. So there is now more of the focus in terms of what's really meaningful. Here the sun shines the torch, shines that light into everything hidden, everything behind the scenes. And we can really learn a lot about ourselves with this kind of configuration for the next roughly 30 days with the sun here. And then on the 25th, which will be Christmas for those of us that celebrate Christmas, we have that full moon on Christmas, which is going to be in your second house. And the second house is about gratitude. It's about values. It's about the material aspects of life. And it could even be a culminating point of a lot of the things you've been working on over the past 6 months involving the financial or material stuff. But really, most importantly, is being grateful for what you do have in your life, because that's the illumination. That's what you can see very clearly, and balancing that with everything that's deeper, with everything that's meaningful. And again, just like all oppositions, seeing them as one and the same, that the material stuff is really important. And it's like, what does it mean? What does it really mean to you? What is it behind the material aspects of it? What is it giving you there? And sort of reflecting on that and balancing these, material and non-material elements of your life, so that you can have, more of an enjoyment of the simple pleasures of the financial, material, those earthly things, which are so important and so enjoyable in our lives. Now, also on the 25th, Uranus does go station direct in that 11th house of yours, so things are shifting at the end of the month involving the group, organizational stuff, probably from all this transformation with Mars and things like that. Could be, depends on your personal chart and to what extent, but a newfound freedom, I think, with groups and organizations and things like that. All right, Taurus, I hope you guys have a nice month. Have a great holiday season. If you guys have any questions, please let me know. Do stay tuned for this message about this holiday special that I'm going to be running through December. All right, so I'll see you guys next time. All right, so it's that time of the year again for the holidays. I'm running a special this year. Get one reading for yourself for 2016 and gift that exact same reading to a friend or family member for the holidays. So whether it's a live phone or Skype session, whether it's a 1-hour recorded reading or a mini birth chart reading, you get that exact same reading you can gift out. So for more information on that, do click the link directly below. And I hope you guys have a fantastic holiday season. If you're new to the channel, be sure to subscribe, because I also do daily and weekly videos. And I'll see you all next time. Take care.